Today on Six Sisters Stuff, I'm sharing with you 25 Christmas traditions that are fun for the whole family. So my name is Kristen Hills, and every Sunday my sisters and I, we love sharing super simple recipes, but today's a little bit different because it is a Thursday and we are sharing our Christmas traditions. Now, we grew up doing so many different traditions, so we thought that we would share our top 25 traditions with you guys. All right, so if you're ready, let's get started. So number one is a cookie exchange. Now, right now, it's a little bit harder to meet with your neighbors and to all exchange cookies. So we're doing a mini cookie exchange with just me and my family. So we're splitting the recipes in half or in fourths so we can have just a little bit of variety and everyone can try different kinds of cookies. Number two is called Crazy Dinner. Now, sometime in December, we love to get together as a family and every child gets $5. They get to go to the grocery store and pick whatever food item that they want. Then we come home, cook it up, and we all share our food. So this is something we did growing up, and now my kids absolutely love it. Number three, now growing up, our family, we went caroling quite often, but it's a little bit harder right now trying to social distance, so I still love the idea of caroling, but maybe this time instead of bringing them a homemade treat, you can easily make up your own little hot cocoa package, put it on their porch so no one has to come in close contact with each other. But if you do sing for your neighbors, make sure that you just stay a little bit away, but loud enough so they can hear. Number four, we did this every year, go to your local light display. Now there are still light displays going on. Some of them even allow you to stay in your car so you can still be safe as you get to view the lights. Number five is an ornament every year for each kid. Now growing up, this is something my mom did, and when we left the house, we got to bring all the ornaments that we had from every year. So now my kids, they get to pick an ornament every year, and when they get out of the house, they'll get to take their ornaments with them. Number six is the angel tree. Now, I was curious if this was still going on, but I went to my local mall yesterday, and the angel tree is up, ready to go. So go to either your local mall, sometimes they do it at fire stations or police stations. They have angel trees for those people in need. So as a family, we love to pick an angel and go shopping for that little angel, just to bring back the good feelings of Christmas. Number seven, donate to your local food bank. Right now, there are a lot of people in need. This is something super simple you can do that is still COVID friendly. You can easily donate to your local food bank, but they are actually needing some helpers. So Fit Frugal Mom posted something on her YouTube channel about how she goes and volunteers every month and helps those in need. So even though it is important to social distance, there are still some people who are going to need help. Number eight, Elf on the Shelf. Now, Elf on the Shelf has been a part of our home. She comes every Thanksgiving and she does all kinds of funny things. She doesn't do things that destroy the house, but she does things just enough to get a little bit of attention that just makes it a fun tradition for the kids and for the adults. Number nine is Christmas treats are nut clusters. Now, I had one sister, Camille, you know Camille. She came up with the idea that you can make them in your Instant Pot, so I'm gonna show you how I do it. All right, so we're gonna use the Instant Pot as like a double broiler. So we're gonna add 2 cups of water to the bottom of our Instant Pot. Now, I already pushed the saute button on here. We'll go to this side. There we go. So I push the saute button. We're just gonna let that get nice and hot. Now, once it's hot, ready to go, our water starts boiling, we're gonna get a bowl that will just rest on top of the Instant Pot. Now, you don't want a small one because you don't want your bowl to fall in. So you want it so it's big enough that it can hold your nuts and your chocolate and all kinds of stuff. So get a pretty good bowl, pretty big bowl, so it will work. Okay, so while we're waiting for that to boil, I'm just gonna start putting my chocolate in right now. So right now I have 1 pound of this white chocolate bark. This package, I did not realize this is what it did, but it made my life so much easier, so I can just pop them out really easily. Just dump them all in. So we have 1 pound of the white chocolate bark. Then we have a ½ pound of just the milk chocolate bark. So I'm gonna put actually this onto the bottom of it so that will melt first and put the rest around the sides. Okay, so once we have 2 kinds of chocolate You're just gonna add one more chocolate, which is Hershey's milk chocolate. This just gives it a little bit different taste. Sometimes the bark doesn't taste very good, but the Hershey's just gives it just a little bit different flavor. So we're gonna throw this on top too, break it up so it'll be nice and easier to melt. Okay, we're gonna let this sit for a few minutes, let it melt. You're going to be mixing as it starts melting. So just keep mixing. We've been going for about 6 minutes or so. The reason I love doing the Instant Pot with this is because your chocolate doesn't burn. It's just gonna keep staying melted, so it's not gonna ever harden up. It's the perfect way to do this. Okay, so I'm gonna get 16 ounces of nuts. Now you can get salted if you want to. These are a little salted, lightly salted, but you don't have to if you don't want to. But I like the chocolate and the salt together. So we have 16 ounces, and then we have 8 ounces of almonds. These aren't salted, they're just almonds. Put those in there. Now remember how I talked about a big enough bowl? This is the other reason, because you need to be able to mix it and not overflow the edges. So we're just gonna mix this all together. Okay, there you go. I think we are all ready. Okay, so my secret with this is you can use your spoon if you want to, and just put it over on some wax paper. I'll move those for a second, and kind of just create your own cluster. And that works just fine. Or I like to use a little cookie scoop or ice cream scoop. It just makes it a little bit easier, so you're not touching things all the time, and it makes it come together a little bit better, so it's more, you know, more shaped like a cluster. Or you can put them in, these little mini muffin things. Put it with your scooper. They will harden perfect into that. So 3 different options, whatever works best for you, but this makes a ton, like 45 to 60, depending on how big you want them. And yes, my husband can eat these like candy. He also likes to put them in the freezer and then just take 1 a day, and they'll last, you know, until the springtime. Anyways, Kate, these are the nut clusters. Super simple, super easy. You guys are gonna love them. Number 10, the first Sunday of December, my children always write a letter to Santa. It's a tradition that we have. We mail them into the mail, send them to Santa so he can get their fun little Christmas lists. Number 11 is gingerbread houses. Now you have 2 ways to do this. You can have a gingerbread house and make it a fun activity for the family, but we like to do them at family parties, and the adults like to have a gingerbread contest. So everyone gets the same amount of things. You just have to see who can come up with the most creative idea. But for a fun activity, I love to use just the normal graham cracker gingerbread house. I hot glue them together to make it a lot easier. Then the kids can decorate their own mini little gingerbread house. Number 12, Christmas movies. Now I'm sure you all have this tradition, but it really is one of my favorites. I swear, it just brings Christmas into our house. So every weekend we sit down as a family and we watch one Christmas movie. So we kind of like to choose and pick which ones we want to watch that season, so we make sure that we get our favorites in. Number 13 is our countdown Christmas chain. This is such a fun activity, especially if you have little kids, so they won't have to ask you every single day, is it Christmas yet? Is it Christmas yet? So you'll have the chain, you'll show them, look, this is how many days till Christmas. I'm telling you, as an adult, it'll make your life a little bit easier. Number 14, of course, I could not go without saying holiday fudge. Today I'm gonna show you how to make Andy's mint fudge. We made this every year growing up, so I'm excited to share it with you. All right, we're gonna start with 1 cup of butter and just put it in the bottom of your pan here. There we go. Okay, then I guess we better turn on the stove, Okay, so while that's melting, we're gonna just add 5 ounces of evaporated milk just in the bottom here. And we're gonna mix this together just while it heats. Just let it heat up a little bit, melt that butter. So now we're just gonna add 1 cup of sugar. Let's pour that in. And then 1 container of this marshmallow cream. Of course, you need this to make fudge. So pour that in too. Okay, we got as much as we can here. So we're just gonna mix this in all together. And then once it's all mixed and boiled, we're gonna let it boil for about 5 minutes. Okay, it's been going for about 5 minutes, boiling. Now we're ready. So because I'm nervous to put the chips in here, I'm afraid it will, overflow. I'm gonna put the chips in a bowl right now. So it's 2 cups of Andes mints or just a bag of these Andes mints chips, which is what I like to do. Then I'm just gonna pour the sauce just right on top of it. That will definitely melt it. It is hot. And then we just need to add just 1 teaspoon of vanilla. Then we're just gonna mix this all together. Oh yes, nice and minty. Ooh, just keep mixing, get all the chocolate chips off the bottom. Okay, once it's all mixed, ready to go, we're gonna go ahead and spray like a 9x13 pan with cooking spray. So we're gonna use a foil one today. Then we're just gonna pour in our mixture. Okay, ready? Here we go. All right, now that evened out pretty well, so you can just leave it on your counter, but I'm gonna stick it in the fridge to make it go a lot faster. Number 15 is sledding. Now, sometimes we don't get a ton of snow where we're at, but if you go up to the mountains a little bit, there is a ton of snow. So that's one of our traditions. Find some place where it's nice and snowy and go sledding together as a family. Number 16 is our Ornament Exchange. Now, as sisters growing up, we used to have a little sister party, and we would each get to pick an ornament, we'd bring it and exchange them all. So it's super fun. You get to come with a cute ornament, but also leave with one of your sister's favorites. This is perfect for either family parties or even just do it as a little family to keep it, Number 17 is putting up all the holiday decor. Now, some people are really specific of which day they do it on. Some people do it the day after Thanksgiving, their tree is up, they're ready to go. Some people I know even do it the day before Christmas. So we love to do it the second week of November. That's kind of our special time to put up our tree and all the decorations. So if you don't have a special date, it's kind of a fun tradition to do. Number 18, bringing a meal to someone in need. Now, I always talk about growing up we did this, growing up we did that, but we had a lot of traditions. So when we were little, we used to find someone who was in need, whether it was a friend, whether it was someone at my dad's work, who was just kind of struggling, and we put together a huge Christmas dinner. And so we had like the stuffing, the ham, the potatoes, literally everything, and we put it in a box. If there were kids, we usually get a few presents from the dollar store or something, just little, and then we would put it on their porch. I remember ringing the doorbell and just running as fast as I could back to the car. It really is one of my most favorite traditions. Number 19 is creating Christmas cards for seniors. Right now, it's really hard for seniors. They don't get a lot of interaction, and so if you have a little bit of extra time, creating Christmas cards for them would be a perfect Christmas idea, especially to get the kids involved. Number 20 is our microwave caramels. Now, if you are nervous about making Christmas candy, this is the perfect recipe because you don't need a thermometer. It literally takes about 20 minutes to put together and they taste amazing. So I'm gonna show you how I do it. Okay, you're gonna start with 1/4 cup of butter, and you don't have to melt it yet, we're just gonna put it in. Then you're gonna do 1/2 cup of the rest. That's why this recipe is so easy. So you have 1/2 cup of brown sugar, we're just gonna dump in. 1/2 cup of normal sugar, dump it in. Then we have 1/2 cup of Caro syrup, pour that in. Go. And then 1/2 cup of sweetened condensed milk. And that is all you have to do. Okay, so we're gonna mix this just a little bit, and then we're gonna cook it in 2-minute increments. So you only have to cook it total for about 6 minutes. So we're gonna mix it a little and then throw it in for about 2 minutes in the microwave. Okay, so we're just gonna stick it in and just set your timer for 2 minutes. So just mixing that all together again. Now I know what you're thinking. It doesn't look like anything right now. Keep microwaving. It'll be okay. There we go. All right, it is starting to get thick. If you guys can see this, told you it would work. So we're just gonna mix this pretty good, and we are ready to let it set up. So I'm gonna take like a 9x13 pan and spray it with some cooking spray. You'll wanna make sure you spray it pretty good because you don't want the caramels to stick. Hold on to this, the bowl is really hot. And then just carefully pour it in. Okay, then just spread it out. It's starting to thicken up a little bit, so it's getting a little harder to spread, but you just want to try and make it as even as possible. So. Okay, then you're just gonna stick this in the fridge or freezer until it's set up. If you put it in the fridge, it'll take about 2 hours. If you put it in the freezer, it'll be about 30 minutes. So when you're making the caramels, you wanna make sure that they don't get all the way cold because then they get a little bit harder to cut up. So as of right now, they're getting there. They're getting there. So you can even put in like little lines to help you a little bit more as they're cooling. So we're gonna just cut into them and then I'll show you how to wrap them up. Okay, so caramel is ready. You're gonna kind of just play with it a little bit. Okay, so you get about a chunk this size. You can roll with it and play with it. The more you play with it, it will soften up a little bit, just like normal, like taffy caramel. So then we're gonna just roll it into like the shape that we want it. So we want it kind of like little candies. Then you're gonna roll it up and then carefully twist the sides so you can have your own little homemade caramels. Now you can make smaller ones, you can make bigger ones. I like them this size. Number 21 is the Christmas talent show. Now, the night before Christmas, we usually get together as a family and we would have a Christmas talent show. So now that we're older, the families, each family has to come up with their own talent show. So last year my kids did a funny little skit, other people do funny little skits or play musical instruments or it's just a fun time to kind of show off your talents and have some fun. So that's something we love to do every year. Number 22 is our Christmas Advent book calendar. Now, if you've never heard of this, it is a very fun tradition. Now, I like to go to my local either Salvation Army or just gently used items. You can find books for really cheap, so for about 50 cents. So you buy 25 books, make sure you clean them off pretty well before you use them, and you're going to wrap them. And then every night, your kids get to open up a book and then you read the book together. It's just a fun tradition that gets the kids excited to open a present every single day. Number 23 is our hot cocoa bar. Now we've been doing this for years. It's one of our favorite traditions. My kids love adding all kinds of different flavors into their hot cocoa. Usually by the end, they're heaping full of sugar, but you know, it's Christmas. They're happy, right? Number 24 is making sugar cookies for Santa. We love making Christmas sugar cookies. We usually do it like 2 days before Christmas. So then Santa will have some cookies when, you know, he comes down the chimney and he's ready to give you presents. And last but not least, number 25 is sitting together as a family and reading the Christmas story out of the Bible. This is one of our favorite traditions. We usually do it on Christmas Eve just to get the spirit of Christmas. All right, you guys, I hope you loved our family traditions. Now, if you loved this so much, you want to share, you know, I would appreciate it. Okay, guys, thanks for joining me today. I'll see you next time. Bye.